Hi everybody, and welcome to Nighthawk Motors. Today I'm going to be talking about the 5 things I absolutely love about the 2018 E300 4MATIC. Let's start with the engine. The 4-cylinder, 2-liter inline turbo engine, to be exact. This thing sounds absolutely amazing. I never thought in all my life on this earth that I would hear an exhaust from a 4-cylinder that I actually liked. Now me, I come from a lot of V8 cars, and I always loved the way a V8 sounds, but to put this thing into perspective, the little 4-cylinder in this car almost sounds like a miniature Bugatti engine, because it gives you that nice turbo whoosh and a very deep throaty noise below that. It doesn't have the high-pitched noise that 4-cylinders usually give you. Now, when I first got into this car, I thought I was going to absolutely hate the way the engine sounded, but I was very surprised when I actually got it and started driving it. I was like, man, this thing, it doesn't really sound like a 4-cylinder, and I don't believe they have any of that active fake sound coming through the speakers, because when I did open up the windows to listen to the engine, it didn't sound like a 4-cylinder. It still didn't sound like it, and you're getting a pure exhaust note from that. And I'll include an exhaust note in this clip here. As you can tell, this thing doesn't sound like a 4-cylinder. It sounds so much better. And if you had an E350 before this, the prior generation with a V6, don't hesitate to go and test drive one of these. Don't feel like you're gonna have something less than you had before. You're gonna have something more, because this thing produces more torque, or at least it feels like a more torquey engine than the old E350 V6, because that turbocharger gives it so much low-end power. And it's going to be lighter, so it'll handle better too, because you have less engine up front. It's a smaller engine. Okay, so number 2, the second thing I love about this car, it's the transmission. Transmission's awesome. It's a 9-speed automatic Mercedes transmission, and it gives you confidence when you're trying to drive. It's not sloppy at all. You can control it with the click of a button or a paddle. And there are so many different settings for this transmission through the dynamic drive modes that you can set it to comfort and just cruise, you just drive around, nothing too harsh. Set it to full Sport Plus mode, and you have this like wicked, almost a dual clutch transmission in this thing. It's not a dual clutch, but it shifts very fast. Not quite as fast as a dual clutch, but it shifts very fast, and it doesn't come with any of the problems with the dual clutch, which is like herky-jerky driving and poor traffic performance. You still get all the great performance in traffic and longevity of a standard automatic transmission, but they just found out a better way to control the shifts in this car. It feels so much more solid and sporty than the old version. That is the number one thing that they changed about this car. Aside from the suspension, in the powertrain, the transmission is the number one thing they changed from last generation. I never liked the old transmission. This one is absolutely amazing. I would not change a thing on it. Number 3 is the steering wheel, and also the feel of the steering. Now, as you can see, the steering wheel is very nice. You have perfect hand positions at both the 3 o'clock and the 10 o'clock positions. It's great. Paddle shifters mounted behind. They are a metallic paddle shifter, which comes with the sport package on this car. And that actual steering of the car, it feels great. I don't feel any gears. It feels like a very well put together electronic power steering unit. Unlike some of the other cars I test drove, you can actually feel the road surface in this car. It gives you confidence to corner, and it has adjustable modes in it, so you can have a light comfort drive or a heavy sporty feel to it, depending on your current driving mood and what you're going to be doing with your car. If you're going to be taking a long commute, canyon carving, anything. It's just a very well done steering system and steering wheel, and I love it. Now, number 4 is the audio system. It's the 590 watt Burmeister audio system that has 2 amplifiers. Now, as you can see, it comes with these very nicely done plaques over the speakers. They just look amazing. They really do. It just accompanies this car all so much better with the other trim that's also silver. Now, this stereo is completely controllable through the infotainment system.  'Cause, 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 'cause can see you have an equalizer in here. This one's set with a 4 bass, 0 mid-range, and 7 for treble. Sounds very nice. There's plenty of bass, plenty of treble, very clear. It doesn't clip at when you have it blasting either, and you can adjust the fade and bounce like all cars. There's an optional surround sound setting, automatic volume adjustment for when you're driving, and it makes it louder when you go faster speeds. Sound focus, you have a front, rear, and all seats. Keep it on the front if you're driving by yourself, but if you want to have others listen to it, you got to change this, otherwise it won't sound as well in the back. Now, as you can see, the audio system is very easy to use. The interface is great, and I don't want to change anything about it. I think it works very well. Now, number 5, the last thing that I absolutely love about this car. Actually, there's a lot more that I love about this car, but I'm only doing 5 things. It's the interior design of not just this generation of E-Class, but all the newer generations of Mercedes are using a very similar interior design. And I believe whoever is doing the design for these cars, they will have a job for their life, because if they keep this up, this is like really the nicest interior you can get on a main type car besides maybe a Bentley or a Rolls Royce. This is up there with those cars. It really is. If you take a look around, it looks absolutely awesome. Look at that interior. Wow. Has these great seats, and you can get different leather that comes with different stitching on the seats. It gives you like a diamond crosshatch, and I'll include a picture of the upgraded seats. They're not cheap. It's about $5,000 for the upgraded seats, but it's just a very nice car. It really is. And these things lease out pretty well, actually. I believe this person's paying about $660 a month, and I can't give you an exact down payment. I'm sure you can go to the Mercedes website and find out what it actually costs to lease one of these, and you can always negotiate with the dealership and get it lower. But Mercedes did a great job with this. They really did. It's absolutely amazing. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the 5 things I absolutely love about the 2018 E300 4MATIC Mercedes Benz. This thing really blew my mind. I thought the engine and transmission weren't going to be that good, but it really is. The little 2-liter turbo in this thing gets this thing up and goes. Like, you don't need any more than this on daily driver. It's a lot faster than my Honda Accord, and, well, it's probably just as fast as the old V6, but you have a more linear torque curve, so more of that power is available at a lower RPM. Coupled with the new transmission, it's a faster car. It does 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds, whereas the old version was, I believe it was like a 6.3 or something like that. I'll have to check into it, but it's quick, has a lot of torque, which is what you want on a street car. You want a lot of torque in a street car. It makes it so much better. You can adjust the bad drivers and traffic so much faster instead of letting the engine rev up and getting into the power band. It's a nice car. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please leave a comment if you would like. I would appreciate it. And also subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye. To be honest, the Honda's steering wheel feels a little more high quality, but they could have just done that for wear reasons, because I know the old version had like a really nice, the old E350 had a really nice steering wheel with like real wrapped leather around it. This one, I can't tell. It doesn't feel like real leather. Now the engine in this car, it is a 2-liter turbo inline-4, and it supposedly has 270 foot-pounds of torque and 250 horsepower, but I believe they undercut those numbers slightly, just because usually you get equal horsepower and torque numbers with your engine. So I think they might have done that for insurance purposes, and also, like I mentioned earlier, a linear power band actually gives you a faster car than a car that just has a peak power of, let's say, the older version had 305 horsepower. This one's got 240 or 250 horsepower. If you're making 250 horsepower from 2,000 RPM to 6,000 RPM, and then the 305 horsepower one, you're only making from 5,000 RPM to 6,000 RPM, the one with less horsepower will actually be faster because you have a more consistent power band. And that's something a lot of people don't understand. Is they say, oh, my car's got, you know, all this horsepower and it's only available for 1,000 RPMs. It's one thing people don't understand is you need consistency to be fast.